Hey, it's Zach from Engadget, and I am here today with the Sony NEX 5R. And so this is an update to last year's NEX 5N. It's a 16 megapixel mirrorless interchangeable lens camera. Very similar in design to the other Sony NEX cameras we've seen in the past. As you'll notice, it has the exact same 18 to 55 millimeter f3.5 to 5.6 lens, kit lens, that Sony's been including with its NEX models since the NEX 3 and the NEX 5 a few years ago. So the lens has not changed. Otherwise, we have seen quite a few updates from the NEX 5N, physically, as far as the design is concerned, and performance-wise as well. And so you'll notice here, looking at the back and the top, that the button layout is a bit different than what we had on the NEX 5N. The biggest difference here being the control dial. This dial is identical to the one you'll see on the NEX 7, but instead of the two that you have on the 7, we only have one here. It functions in much the same way as the NEX 7, except in manual mode, for example, instead of controlling both aperture and shutter speed with the top dials, you can only control one or the other. When you're using aperture priority or shutter priority, this dial will control the primary mode, so that you'll make, in aperture priority mode, you can adjust the aperture by turning the dial. Otherwise, the control layout is very similar to all of the previous NEX models. So we have a 4-position button right here to control the drive mode. We have an exposure compensation button down at the bottom, ISO control, and a display control as well. We do have a 3-inch touchscreen, and so like the NEX 5N, there is a touch-enabled LCD. It does flip all the way forward, and I'll show you that functionality in a moment, just like we have on the NEX F3, so you can do self-portraits. But the additional advantage here is that it can also flip downwards, and then it can flip up 90 degrees like this, so you can shoot from below the waist or above your head as well. And so the NEX F3, its LCD does not flip downwards like this. So definitely an advantage for overhead shooting. Continuing the tour, up top we have a dedicated video capture button, and so you don't need to go into a special mode to shoot video. From any mode, you can actually just press this button right here and you'll start video capture. The one issue with this is that the button is very hard to press, even when you don't have anything in the way, but especially when you tilt the LCD up. So with the LCD up, it does block access to the button, so you kind of have to get your fingernail in there to start and stop video capture. Over here up on the top we have the left and right microphone positions. They're on the top just as they were on the NEX 5 and the NEX 5N. They're not front facing as you have on the 7, and that positioning works better for interviews. This is great for narration, so it really just depends on what you need to do. You can, of course, add Sony's proprietary microphone, which will cost you about $150. That pops right in there on the accessory connector. So you can put that in. It's a shotgun mic that faces forward. You can also add an OLED electronic viewfinder. There is none built in, as you'll find with the NEX 6. And so no built-in EVF, but you can add that up there. One other new feature, and this one's pretty great, is that we have a micro USB port right here, but you can actually charge the camera using micro USB. You don't find a battery charger, a dedicated battery charger included in the box. Instead, there's an AC adapter with a USB output, so you can just connect a standard micro USB cable to charge the camera, which also means that you can charge it from battery backup devices, and even a laptop as well. We also have an HDMI port on the bottom if you opt to output your video directly to a TV. And then if you can see right here, we have a little indicator that says Wi-Fi. This is also the first NEX camera, along with the NEX 6, that offers built-in Wi-Fi functionality. So I'll go over that in a minute as well. Going over to the right side, we just have a standard grip here. It's textured as it has been on all the NEX 5s in the past. And then on the bottom, we have a tripod connector right there. And then we have the SD card and battery compartment are a combo here, unlike on the NEX C3 and some other NEX cameras where the SD card slot was on the bottom. It's over on the side, so even if you have a tripod mount right there connected on the bottom, you won't be blocking access to the SD card. And we have the exact same info lithium Sony battery that we've had with all of the NEX cameras in the past. So if you've had one or two NEX cameras before, you can also use those battery packs with this camera. You can also use the battery chargers that came with previous NEX cameras, and it's 1,080 milliamp hours. So it's a decent sized battery, and we're able to get several hundred shots and many minutes of HD video with a single charge. And it does charge up fairly quickly using the supplied AC adapter. You can also charge it using your laptop, but it depends on the output voltage. You may not be able to charge it nearly as fast when plugged into a laptop as you could with the AC adapter. I'll give you a tour with the device on. So the menu system, the interface, is virtually unchanged from previous NEX models. Unfortunately, we're outside here in Bali, Indonesia, and it's a little bit too bright to really see the menu, but there is an outdoor setting which should be under setup, and if I can find that quickly, I will power that up. LCD brightness. Okay, so we go, instead of manual, sunny weather, and so you should be able to see it now. So in this sunny weather mode, you can definitely see the display outside. It does have an orange hue, and that doesn't represent the images that you'll see once they're viewed on a computer or after the fact, but the preview is a little bit orange. I'll go back into the menu here. The battery, unfortunately, is almost dead, so let's see if we can get through this quickly. It's a touchscreen, so you can tap if you want, but you don't have to. You can control the LCD completely using the dials and wheels over here on the side. But you can tap if you want. The only major addition to the settings, to the menu, is this applications icon right down here. And so if you tap application, this is the first NEX camera, like it's the first to have Wi-Fi, it's also the first to have apps. And so it ships with direct upload, smart remote control, and picture effect on the device. There are also three other apps. 2 are available for purchase, 1 you can download for free. But all of the apps will be provided by Sony, so you won't see any third-party apps here. Direct upload we were able to get working. Still working on getting the smart remote control function to work, but this would enable you to use a smartphone to control the camera, to use as a viewfinder, and to capture images as well. There is also an option to directly upload images to your smartphone. We haven't been able to get that to work, unfortunately, either, and that's using the Play Memories app for Android. But with direct upload, you can upload to Facebook just by going into direct upload. And unfortunately, we don't have a card in here, so we can't do that for you now. And I don't think the battery will last that long. But I can give you an idea of how that would work. Basically, you would go in, select an image. Once you link your Facebook account to the camera, you'll be able to add your images to a new gallery or to any of your existing Facebook galleries. You'll actually see a full list of your Facebook galleries. Wi-Fi mode here, you need to have a card in there, unfortunately, to get that to work, but it's a little bit tricky to type in SSID passwords, and also you have access to a web browser built into the camera, so you can actually log on to, say, a hotel Wi-Fi network. We're not in an area that has any such Wi-Fi networks, so we can't really demonstrate that here. But if you were in a hotel or an airport or somewhere where you needed to purchase a subscription, even go in flight, you would be able to do that here. And so otherwise, very similar operation to some of the other NEX models that don't have a dedicated control wheel. And so on the NEX 6, you do have a dial up here that gives access to all of these modes directly just by turning the dial. Here you have to press the center button here for mode, and then you can turn to the mode that you want to use. So we have an intelligent auto mode. There's a superior auto mode, which does things to reduce, as it says there, reduce blur and noise. So there's a multi-frame noise reduction mode, depending on the scene. So the camera will actually decide when it needs to enable that, and then if it seems fit, then the camera will actually shoot multiple frames, 3 consecutive frames, in order to capture a steady image without a lot of noise. And then I'm going to also show you another nifty feature here. Let me get back into the auto mode. Is that we can shoot 10 frames per second with focusing. And so That's what that sounds like. Very, very fast, and that also goes into the high ISO noise reduction mode as well. So the 3 images that you'll capture are captured very, very quickly because of that fast drive mode. The other thing that's been fixed is focusing, and so focusing is not the fastest that we've seen on any mirrorless camera, but certainly a huge improvement over previous NEX models. And so we don't have a lot to demonstrate here, but we've been having great luck with this focusing even in dim lighting situations. So even without the focus assist light, you can focus very quickly while recording video as well. So that has been a quick look at the Sony NEX 5R. I will pop off the lens just so that you can see what it looks like without this oversized 18 to 55 millimeter optic. You can see right here we have an APS-C size sensor, same size sensor that we've had in all of the NEX models that have come before this. The mount is kind of just above the top of the camera itself. So if you're not a huge fan of that design, it's present here as well. You'll probably want to opt for a camera like the NEX 7, which has a slightly larger body, where the lens does not extend above the housing itself. I'll pop the lens back on here. And so this lens comes with the camera. This is the kit lens. It ships in the box for about $750, or you can buy it body only without the lens. If you've had one of the previous NEX cameras, you probably already have this lens, in which case you wouldn't need to buy the kit. So you can buy the body only for $650, or you can purchase this with the lens for $750. So this has been a look at the Sony NEX 5R.